I wanna be a positive renegade, making changes for the better, throwing out old rules and creating a new landscape that can be shared. Be kind, be honest, be courageous. I wanna be a leader, don't be afraid. A voice whispers inside. You have the power to change the wrong, or envision the past, build the future, plant positive in your garden and watch it grow. I wanna be a positive renegade, making changes for the better, throwing out old rules and creating a new landscape that can be
Hi, I am Ozzy the Wonder Squirrel. Don't forget to watch Evil Dead Chick on Deadites on Deck on YouTube. Oh, and subscribe, man!
watching movies, we forget chick and the gang, funny, strange, hysterical, or just plain bang bad. This weekend just got amazing. It's a watch along weekend. Oh, it's sci-fi, comedy, and more. We got it all this weekend. This weekend just got amazing. It's a watch along weekend. Horror and sci-fi, comedy, and more. We got it all this weekend.
Hey, gang. Hey, the poet, Kits, Tom, Drake. Sorry for being a little bit late. I waited too long to get my intro together, and my software was taking a while to get it processed. Thanks for coming in for a little bit, Kits. I appreciate it. Tom, I appreciate you coming in before you go to karaoke. Drake, you say you only saw The Shining one time. Well, you're probably in for a treat if you've only seen this one time. Kids, I have something that, I always say, because me and Uncle Bill over at Dead Pit Radio go back and forth, because Uncle Bill always wants me to say which one is a better film. Or no, how's he put it? He says, which one do I prefer? And what I always say is Kubrick's version of The Shining is a better horror film, lots better than the miniseries version of The Shining. But the miniseries version of The Shining follows Stephen King's book more closely. And that's how I always put it. And I like each one of them for different reasons. So, yes, I did know that Stephen King has always expressed his displeasure with Kubrick's version of The Shining, but I do think that Stephen King has kind of mellowed in his older years. The poet, you say you can't watch the TV version. A lot of people can't watch the TV version, actually. Tom, you say, I still don't get the ending. So is Jack reincarnated? Well, I think it all goes back to, I guess you could say it's reincarnated, but when he's talking to Grady, who was supposed to have been the previous caretaker that killed his daughters and his wife and then shot himself, um, he tells Jack in the bathroom where he's cleaning off the drink that he spilled on him. He says, "You've always been the caretaker," because Jack asks him, you know, "Weren't you once the caretaker here, Mr. Grady?" And he says, "Why, no, sir. I don't recollect that." And he says, "You've always been the caretaker." So I think Kubrick wanted to maybe leave it open ended and open to interpretation. Um, King is lame in that regard. Well, we'll have to agree to disagree on that. I'm the hugest Stephen King fan that ever was, and I will defend that man until the day I die. I can't call him lame. He's one of the greatest writers of my generation, and even before my generation. Um, but it's okay. Um, well, yeah, a lot of people are King fans, but they disagree with Stephen King on that, and they do think it's lame. But like I said, we all have our different opinions, and I don't mind if people call Stephen King lame, for having such displeasure with Kubrick's version of The Shining. A lot of people, a lot of people are unhappy with Stephen King for the things he said over the years about Kubrick's version of The Shining. But if y'all will notice, Stephen King did praise Dr. Sleep, and Dr. Sleep pretty much follows on the heels of Kubrick's version of The Shining instead of King's version of The Shining. Um, yeah, I mean, a lot of kids don't understand him calling the Kubrick one bad. Um, I don't know if he was, it may have come off like he was saying it was a bad, terrible film, but I have heard him say that it's a good film. Um, in at least one interview. Probably not early on. This was probably, in later years when he said that. That's why I say I think Stephen King has mellowed a little bit in his older age. And maybe he's come to appreciate Kubrick's version of The Shining a little bit more. But I think really what irked him in his younger years was the fact that, Kubrick took license with his material. And I know that once it gets out there and once it gets Hollywood eyes and stuff like that, things are going to change. But King's not been the only writer to complain about his work being bastardized. So everybody is entitled to their own opinion. I've got mine, and other people got theirs. Um, Kids, you say the other version of it is okay, but I like Jack as Jack because his face is like Silent Hard to me. Yeah, it is in a lot of ways. Um, Kids, you say yes. That's why I was confused why he praised Doctor Sleep. Yeah, that goes along with me saying I think he's mellowed. Um, I don't think he ever hated Kubrick's version of Shining. I think he didn't really like I said, how Kubrick took license with his material. Yeah, you say that they were both on a lot of stuff back in the day. Maybe Kubrick and King had a beef we don't know about. Could be, could be. We may never know. Tom, I think you said it best. It's a Kubrick film, not a Stephen King movie. Right. like it should be. Drake, you say King's brain is wired differently. The poet, I have seen Rose Red. I'm not too fond of Rose Red, the movie. Um, I liked the book pretty well, but that was another one of those that I just didn't much care for. But Kit says Rose Red, I was obsessed with it. I used to rent it all the time. I'm sure some people like it, like kids. Kids likes it, Drake. There was just something about it that I just didn't care for as a movie version. But we could have a whole discussion on the Shining. I love all this talk back and forth. This is great. Um, so I just want to go ahead and get my housekeeping stuff out of the way, and then we'll go ahead and get this watch along started. Um, but I just want to remind everybody that there's several different ways that you can support me and the channel, and it won't cost you a dime. One is by subscribing. There's never a bad time to subscribe to either my channel or anybody else's channel that you're enjoying the content that they're putting out. You know, I'm not going to try to come to your house and minister to you, try to sell you cookies and candy bars or anything like that. You can watch as many videos and streams as you want or as few as you want. I'm not going to ever know, and I don't even have to know that you subscribe, right? But if you're liking the content, why not subscribe? And once you subscribe, here's something else that you can do. You can hit that notification bell so that hopefully YouTube's notification system is working and you won't miss any of the new content I'm putting out. You can also hit the like button on stuff that you particularly enjoyed. And if you love it all, folks, hit that like button all across the board. And here's one more way you can support me and the channel. It won't cost you a dime, won't cost anybody you tell about the channel a dime. And that's by sharing my channel with friends and family that you think might enjoy the content that I'm putting out. And my channel handle is at Deadites on Deck. And I think I put .com on there on one of my other recent streams, and I didn't mean to do that. It's just at Deadites on Deck. Or if you feel so inclined and you can afford to spend a few bones, you can join the channel. You can join my Patreon. And you can head on over to my shop at deaditesondeck.com and look at the designs that I have for t-shirts and hats and tote bags and mouse pads, etc., etc. I've got to get around to putting some new stuff on the site. But I'm not just all about horror, folks. I'm about custom logos. So if you need a logo for a business or side business, you have a friend or family member that you want to get stuff for their business or side business, you need a bunch of shirts made, I will give you a bulk discount. I will help you come up with that logo. You tell me what you want, and I will work with you to create the custom logo that you want on shirts and hats and all that good stuff. Okay. And in addition to giving you a bulk discount, I have a flat rate of shipping that is $6. That doesn't matter if you get 1 shirt, 5 shirts, 10 shirts, 100 shirts, or hats, or whatever. It's still going to be $6. Can't get that too many places anymore. So I'm going to look through these comments, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. But I'm going to tell y'all where I am queued up to. I've got the new 4K, but I'm watching the Blu-ray. I am queued up 11 seconds in. The Warner Brothers logo is on the screen, folks. So if y'all want to get queued up while I'm finishing up this, then we'll get started in about a minute or two. So a kid, you say, I can see why people wouldn't care for it, though, but I thought it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad movie. It just wasn't my cup of tea. It wasn't like I hated it. but I wasn't all that interested in it either. Tommy said the problem with Stephen King adaptations is it's hit and miss. Yes, very many times it was hit and miss, and it's more miss than hit. Hey, Stacy, you say Send Help is terrific, Stacy. I think it's my favorite Sam Raimi one. I think the Evil Dead trilogy, original trilogy, will always be my favorite, but I do want to see Send Help. So embrace the good ones, you say, Tom. Um, Thank you, Kids. Kids says they can also click share here on YouTube and make a post and tag you in it. So, yeah, that's another way that you can help me in the channel and it won't cost you anything. Thank you, Kids. Hey, Candace. Candace says, hey, everyone. I wish I didn't feel bad today. I would join you. One of my favorite movies. Well, you know, this is a kind of long movie, Candace. If you do happen to get to feeling better, I would love to have you on here, as well as anybody else that's of age. Folks, you got to be 18 years of age or older to come on here with me. And you have to behave yourself. That's the two prerequisites that I got. Tommy say it's incredible what he did with Space Odyssey. He started filming in 1966. You're watching on VHS. Ooh, old school tonight, kids. That's cool. Tommy say it is timeless. Tommy said, by the way, that long spaceship was based on a real prehistoric skeleton. Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. Kids, you say I do that, by the way. I always share people's lives in my posts. That is a very, very good thing to do. And it probably reaches a lot of people, I would imagine. Hey, Stalin. Anyway, let's start The Shining. Tom's ready to get started here. You know, pizza does sound good, Drake, but oh, wait. I think I do have pizza. I think I do have a mini, like a personal pizza in the freezer. That's a good idea. I may step away during the watch along to put that in the oven. Kids, you say I'll grab us all pizza. Kids, you say it does. It goes into the YouTube algorithms. All right. So let's go ahead, folks. Like I said, I am 11 seconds in on my Blu-ray, and the Warner Brothers logo is up. You're watching on Daily Motion, Tom? Cool. I didn't even know if it was on Daily Motion. But let's go ahead and do the countdown. We'll get started. If anybody comes in here later, I'll be glad to give them a timestamp. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Press play, folks. We're off and running. And I will say this for Kubrick, and I've said it before, Kubrick has fantastic shots in his films, in all of his films. This opening shot for The Shining, I think was done by helicopter. But it's just absolutely breathtaking and amazing. Kitschy said Kubrick inspired me so much with his camera work. Yeah, he has some of the most fantastic camera work. And I think the way this opening is filmed, it puts me on edge even before we get into the middle, like the meat of the movie. All of this is very kind of anxiety inducing. Because it always looks like one false move and Jack and the little VW bug could just go off of one of these cliffs and die. You know, he's not going to, but it almost seems as if he could. Tommy, you say it's nowhere to be found, but I wonder about the Volkswagen. Yeah, they talk about movies like Christine and stuff, and how, some people had found one of the cars they used for Christine, stuff like that. But you don't hear about this VW bug, do you? Kids, you say, Christine, my goodness, my dad is a car guy, and we had a junkyard growing up. I saw that movie so much I can recite it in my sleep. I love Christine. I think it's a fantastic adaptation. I love what John Carpenter did with it. It's actually, Halloween is my top John Carpenter film, but Christine's up there for me. Kitschy say, "Oh, I love it, but man, I haven't watched it in ages." Maybe I need to put that as one as a possible choice for a upcoming watch along, because I don't think I've ever done a watch along for Christine. So we're getting the introduction to Jack Torrance, played by Jack Nicholson here. I do disagree with Stephen King slightly, because he always said that he felt like Nicholson was the wrong person for this part because he looked crazy from day one. Now, I slightly disagree with Stephen King because, one, I'm a huge Jack Nicholson fan from way back. I even liked him in Easy Rider, if y'all have seen Easy Rider. Um, I think he's fine in this movie, and when the real craziness starts, um, he goes off the deep end. But I think, that's what we expect. We expect, when is Jack gonna go off the deep end? And when he finally does, it's like, holy cow. Tom, you say, I wonder if Kubrick chose that car and color because of that. Uh, could be. Nothing's out of the realm of possibility. Kids, you say, I really wish my patience is as long as Shelly's cigarette butts in this movie. Oh, me too, kids. Nicholson is amazing. I just think he's an amazing actor. You say Easy Rider, yes, haha. Nicholson, yeah, I mean, probably the youngest he looked uh, was on Little Shop of Horrors. That's probably about the youngest I've ever seen Jack Nicholson look. Um, One thing that's radically different in this scene where Jack is talking to Ullman, the manager of the Overlook Hotel, is that Ullman hated Jack in the book. Yeah, it is a Bundy like car, exactly, Tom. Um, and that very well could have been what he was trying to do. And I think after they go to the hotel to stay for the winter, when Wendy is in the kitchen, there's a scene where Wendy is in the kitchen and she hears that it's going to snow. And she, just before she goes to say something to Jack, and he's kind of grouchy and moody with her, she hears a news report about a missing Aspen woman. And I always thought that that alluded to Ted Bundy and the case. Kids, you say the book isn't as scary as I thought. I finally finished it a few months ago and I was like, oh, okay, haha. Maybe if I didn't see the movie first. Well, I always said I probably would have liked the Forrest Gump book better. The one and only time where I liked the movie better than the book was with Forrest Gump. And maybe if I hadn't seen the movie first before I read the book, maybe I would have felt differently. But man, Tom Hanks just nails it as Forrest Gump in that movie. Hey, Gory Tiger. That guy Bill looks like he's sucking on sour lemons or limes or something like that. One thing that I think is scarier in the movie than the book is the the use of the croquet mallet. Of course, the croquet mallet works on the written page, but I think Kubrick was smart to change the weapon to an axe later in the film, because it visually that axe is a lot scarier than a croquet mallet would be. And that's something that people have talked about the mini series and how ridiculous it is to have Jack running around with the croquet mallet. You're right, the poet. No one plays crazy better than Jack Nicholson. Kid, she said, I don't think Jack is playing though. If you've seen the behind the scenes stuff when he's getting ready to do the scene where he chops down the bathroom door and does the "Here's Johnny" line, um, when you see him warming up for it, I mean, he's just, jumping up and down and doing all kinds of stuff to get himself worked up. Christopher Lloyd can play crazy. You were right, Tom. Kids, you say, oh, yeah, he does that weird little workout and he can just change. It's amazing. And we saw Danny Lloyd real quick there in the bathroom brushing his teeth, playing Danny Torrance. And I met the adult Danny Lloyd, and he was super, super nice. I think he's a teacher now. But yeah, that was a great experience. He was kind of reserved, but very, very nice, though. It could be possible, kids, that he didn't see it until he was older. I'm not 100% sure on that. This is another great shot. This vision of the blood, and then those two creepy Grady twins. And we haven't really talked about Shelley Duvall. Always thought Shelley Duvall was a fantastic actress as well. Now, her and Kubrick butted heads on this movie, and apparently Shelley Duvall was going through some kind of medical issues. And if you watch the behind the scenes stuff, you will see a lot of that. And Kubrick antagonizes her a little bit, and some people might think that Shelley Duvall is a little bit of a crybaby, a drama queen, whatever. But I mean, I thought Kubrick was a little hard on her at some points and times. Yeah, exactly, kids. Shelley, I don't think Shelley Duvall ever got the credit that she deserves, not only for this movie, but for all the other movies she was in. You say, nah, Kubrick was an ass. I think the Kubrick, yes, he could be an ass. Talented, but an ass. Yeah, that's perfect. Because you clearly see him behind the scenes. Come on, Shelley. Come on, let's do this. Blah, 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 blah. You know. And so now Danny's explaining about his friend Tony, his imaginary friend, who shows him these sometimes scary things. Yeah, Tom, you're right. A lot of really talented and creative people can be asses, unfortunately. Kitschy say, I think that the problem with talented directors, they are lost in their vision so much they forget they are talking to people. I believe that as well. As many times as I've seen this, I didn't remember seeing Goofy on Danny's shelf to the right there. I can get along with some difficult people, Tom, and others I have a hard time getting along with. Now, I do realize that this is a very long movie, and I know that Kits has a stream that she's going to be preparing for. Um, and I realize that not a lot of you will be able to stay for the duration, and I understand that. But hopefully, you will be able to watch this on the replay for the stuff that you missed. I appreciate that, Kits. I'm glad that you enjoy the stuff. It's enough that you would want to watch the replay, and it also helps. My views and stuff are going up. I've still got, I think they're trolls, but I've still got some issues with people going and just disliking random videos. Several somebody's in fact. I don't like to talk a lot about it and draw a lot of attention to it, but I'm hoping that it will stop at some point. No, Stacy, there doesn't seem to be a language barrier. And I love it that I've got overseas people that are watching these things. Kids, you say, nah, dislikes happen. I once was honest. Uh I don't like baby metal, and people told me they wanted to smash my face in with my teacup. Jeez. So I took the comment and made a t-shirt merch with it. Thank you, kids, for saying you're doing fantastic. All right. You are. I think that's really cool. Your autocorrect's having a blast again, Tom. Now, I think the scene coming up when the family gets to the hotel, when Jack and Wendy and Danny get to the hotel, and Danny, Jack is sitting there reading a magazine or appearing to read a magazine. And I think it was Dead Pit that brought up the fact, and I had seen this movie a whole bunch of times over the years and never noticed this. But I think it was them that brought up the fact that it appears to be an adult magazine like Playboy or Penthouse or one of those things. I'm like, what in the heck is that doing in a hotel stack of magazines? Unless it was, Jack's personal magazine, but he kind of just throws it over on the table when he gets up. So I'll see if y'all notice and see if it looks like an adult magazine to you guys. Well, I try my best not to let them discourage me, kids, because I think that is their objective, is to discourage me and possibly make me go off of YouTube, and that's not something that I ever plan on doing. But y'all support, you guys that keep coming back time after time after time. I really appreciate your support. Glenn Close, that would have been an interesting choice, Stacy, for the Wendy character. Okay, here's what I was talking about. The scene is coming up. For those of you that are watching along, let me know what you think about this magazine. It's a really quick shot. There's the magazine. It kind of looks like it might be Playboy or something, but I'm not sure. I'm just intrigued by that since they brought it up. I didn't get to see it in the cinema, Stacy. I watched this on video the first time. Kids, you say I first saw this on horror TV when I was a teenager. Haha. Um, Tom, you say Glenn Close thinks she was too young back then. Could have been. Kids, you say, haha, yeah, those weird spicy details. I'll tell you where I would like to stay. I would like to stay at the Stanley Hotel. Guys and gals, I'm probably going to take myself out of the stream here in just a little bit. I will be back, but um, Drake mentioned pizza, and now I'm like, oh, I think I have that personal pizza in my freezer, pepperoni pizza. So I may very well get that out and put it in the oven and be back. And y'all know me, I always have to have a restroom break as well. So at least once during these watch alongs. It used to be okay. I know you guys and gals don't mind, but it used to be a little bit easier to do that when I had somebody on here with me because I would let them kind of lead the watch along till I got back. Tommy say, no problem, we'll still be here. Can't you say you're gonna sneak and get the pizza? I knew it. Yeah, I couldn't help it. Drake made me hungry for pizza, and I thought at first I don't have any pizza in the house. Dang. And then I thought, yes, I do. That'll be my snack for the night. Pizza peer pressure. That would, yeah, that's what I was going to say too. That's a great shirt idea. Another thing that people said was so ridiculous in the miniseries was the hedge animals. And I would have to agree that the way that they had to be done at that time was sort of hokey and stuff. But again, in the book, they worked. But I like the idea of the hedge maze in Kubrick's version. Oh, Tom remembers. God bless you, Tom. He remembers everything. Um, because Tom says, Kids Dana did a great video on Kubrick 2 years ago. Thank you, Tom. I really, really appreciate that. These days, I forget everything just about that I've done. I also love Scatman Crothers. I think he's great as Dick Halloran in the movie. Is it going to be things or is it going to be something else, kids? You say I have to survive a Barry G. Gillis film tonight, so coming here beforehand, it's a good mind cleanser. I agree, Tom. Scatman, he had a humanity. Oh, Wicked World. I haven't seen that one. Should I even um should I even try that one, kids? Yes, empathy, exactly. Kids love Scatman too. Everybody I haven't ever heard anybody say anything bad about Scatman Crothers. Not if you want to keep brain cells. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. I gotta ask you guys, this doesn't have anything to do with this movie, but I did not know there was such a thing as ghost kitchens. Okay, does anybody know what a ghost kitchen is? I found out what a ghost kitchen is last night. Um, but the reason why I'm wondering about this is because um, I found out almost too late, and me and Steve would have went on a wild goose chase because I found this place called the Shake Bar on DoorDash, and they had shakes for $11 to $18. Okay, yeah, I know that's steep for shakes, but these shakes looked amazing on DoorDash, and yeah, I mean they're wild. Um, so um, Steve said, "Well, I'll take you to the shake bar." But when I got to looking at where the addresses were for these shake bars in Louisville, there were supposed to be three different shake bars. They all came back as a steak and shake. I was like, what's going on here? So I did a little more research and I found out there were several people that got pissed off because they thought they were getting like premium shakes from a place called the Shake Bar. Turns out these are shakes that Steak and Shake makes, but they only deliver them through DoorDash and Grubhub and stuff like that. Um, but you can get similar shakes if you just go there for $5 or $6, and they're wanting to charge you $11 to $18. And I was kind of pissed off too when I found out about that. So I had to tell Steve that. I said, no use trying to take me to the shake bar because it's a steak and shake. So I learned a very valuable lesson. Kids, you said we have cottage law here, but you have to follow a line of things and have it be known. Um, oh, I love Maximum Overdrive, the poet. Kids, you say you'd be pissed for sure. Well, you know, I wanted that cake face one that I saw, and it was $18, but it showed a huge piece of cake on there. But I am willing to bet that even if you spent $18 on it and had it delivered from DoorDash or Grubhub or whatever, that it wouldn't have been any bigger than the milkshakes we ended up getting from Steak and Shake. I got a birthday cake one, and Steve got a strawberry shake. So to get back to the movie, speaking of ice cream, Danny's having some chocolate ice cream, and Halloran's trying to get him to tell him, how long he had been able to um, do this, you know, read minds and know what other people are thinking and have visions and all that stuff, because Halloran has that ability as well. So, gang, I'm going to take myself out of the stream, but please stay tuned. I will be back. If y'all are continuing to watch, just keep on keeping on. I'm going to keep mine going. And when I come back, I'll pick up right where I left off. You know, I know the movie's going to move on, but I will be back in a few, folks. Okay, gang, I'm preheating my oven, and I may have to step away a couple more times. One to put the pizza in, and I wanted to get it out. Let's see. Tommy said, boom, it's clickbait. The movie switches to an Indian dance movie. Holy crap. And that's on Daily Motion, though? Oh, well, my dogs just need now, folks. Where's that go? Come on, Joey. When you go out? Like I always say, when you got 5 dogs in the house, invariably one of them's going to have to go out. Well, I hope it switches back to The Shining. You have 5 dogs too, kids? Oh, cool. Do you have a myriad of other animals too? People say I have a zoo at my house because I don't know if I've told everybody in here this, but I also have 2 parakeets. I have a bearded dragon. I have 2 guinea pigs. I have a ball python. I have an iguana. And I also have acquired, since last October, a dormouse, which I had to have him shipped to my house. A transport guy had to bring him. And his name is Ozzy. I named him in honor of Ozzy Osbourne, of course. And gang, tomorrow is February the 1st. So I'm definitely going to be getting on my Valentine's Day horror movie watching. So Danny and Wendy are in the hedge maze. The snow has not yet arrived. And apologies, folks, if I stop talking about the movie and kind of just zone out, because this is such a great movie that sometimes when they're really great movies and there's not a lot to make fun of or anything like that, this is another great shot of Jack looking at a model of the hedge maze, and then you can see Wendy and Danny moving around in there. Tommy said, I still remember the movie. We're fine. And she said, hey, watch along, zone outs happen. Yeah, they happen to me quite often, especially the older I get. I find myself watching the movie sometimes and I think, oh my gosh, I'm not talking about it. That's another reason I miss having somebody on here with me for these things, because I can bounce things off of somebody when they're on camera with me. Kid, she say, happened to me with I Married a Monster from Outer Space the other night. Here's where it's talking about the search for the missing Aspen woman who disappeared on a hunting trip with her husband. Kids, you say, yeah, for sure. That's why I started my panel to bounce things off. Ha ha. Yeah, I used to have, a regular parade of people that would come in here and want to be on streams. And then I had a little trouble with my channel and that kind of fizzled out and stopped. But I do sometimes have my friend Candace on here. I've had her husband Chris on here in the past. Hope comes on with me still yet, and I appreciate when all of them can come on at different points and times. I appreciate that, kids. Anybody and everybody that you can tell about the channel if you think they would be interested in it, I appreciate that so much. Kids, you say a lot of my viewers are similar to your type of content, so meant uh, there's enough to go around. Exactly, exactly. I'm gonna step away again, folks. I will be back. I think my oven is preheated. I'll be right. All right, so I'm back. I put the pizza in the oven. Hopefully, I'll only have to go away one more time to get the pizza when it's done. So here's where you're seeing the crack start with Jack. I would have, if my husband talked to me like this, I probably would start crying. Wendy handles this a lot better than I would have. Yes, I like the way you put that. You said, if my husband talks to me like that, we need a coroner. Actually, I thought this was the kind of snow we were going to have the other day here. Um, that's a really creepy look that Jack's got on his face there. It's almost a smile, but it's like the lights are on, but nobody's home type of deal right there. That's fantastic, though. Yeah, exactly, kids. Jack's face is amazing. But like I was saying, I thought we were going to get snow like that a week or so ago, and we did get quite a bit. We got about probably 6 to 8 inches, and it snowed again today, and it's turned off rather cold again. How it can morph is amazing. Yes, I agree. Tommy said, found the movie again. This time it's a 1 to 10 in bits upload. Ah, gotcha. You say it's okay. Well, like you said, you've seen this so many times, you pretty much could play the movie in your head. And I'm like that too. If I was not able to watch it, and I wasn't I wasn't heading up a watch along. Now I kind of need to watch it to head up a watch along, but if I was in a watch along and I wasn't able to watch the movie, then I think I would be fine. So the phones are out now and they're having to use the radio to communicate with people on the outside. And just the sense of isolation, um, this little family being isolated from virtually everybody and everything, um, is frightening in and of itself. I feel like. I certainly wouldn't want to be trapped anywhere where, the phones could go out in the first snowstorm. And, the snowcat was mentioned. Olman showed them the snowcat and said if they could both drive a car, then this thing worked almost like a car. Um, the ability to not easily get down off the mountain is frightening too. And now Danny's seeing those creepy Grady twins again. So he sees flash. That's very graphic imagery that you're seeing of the girls covered in blood, the axe, and the girls are saying, "Come play with us, Danny, forever and ever and ever." So quiz time. Does anybody know what the movie is they're watching? So Danny evidently is bored with what's on TV and he wants to go upstairs and get his fire engine. And Wendy says, come on, Doc. You don't need to go up there now. Your dad just laid down. He needs his rest. I always thought this scene coming up between Danny and Jack is really creepy too. It really lets you see how far gone Jack already is. Um, the scene, Danny's going upstairs to get his fire engine. And he's going to see that his dad's not asleep, he's awake. Well, he's going to bring Danny in close, and he repeats what the Grady twins said to Danny. I wish we could stay here forever and ever and ever. And it's just really very creepy. Jack looks a little worse for wear here, too. And he had to wear the same clothes, too. Okay, kids, you say, all right, it's time for me to go get ready myself. I will watch the replay. Have a fantastic rest of the watch along. Thank you, kids, and thank you for stopping by. I hope you have a good stream as well. Oh boy, there's another one of my dogs. Maybe his brain right, kids. Well, good luck. Good luck on that. I guess somebody's got to watch those brain rot movies for us. Oh, sorry, folks. I don't think my energy drink's doing its job. What do you need, Sammy? Do you need to go out too? We'll be good. You want to go outside? You're talking to me about it, but you want to go out? Come on. Sammy. All right, you need a foot bar. Tommy said, I'm joining Kits after this. It's too late for the karaoke. Oh, okay. You say it's just around the corner, Tom? Somehow I don't think that's true that he would never hurt Danny. Good Lord, Sammy. So we're going to be coming up on what I consider a very frightening scene, the woman in the tub scene. We don't really exactly see what happens to Danny. We find out later that he was strangled by a crazy woman. But Jack, it gets to experience it firsthand. Yes, Vivian Kubrick did film the making of for this. Sammy, did you decide you're going to go out? Sorry, gang. You can go to the bathroom. Hurry up now. Okay? Hold up. Come on. Sammy, come on. Let's go. Go. I know it's cold, but you can't have an accident in here. You know? Then you go lay down and don't be having accidents. Sorry, folks. Sammy can't decide if he wants to go out or not. I'm going to step away, folks, and check on my pizza real quick. Wait a minute. If you want to go outside, let's go outside, buddy. Come on. Wait. So Jack just had a nightmare that he killed Wendy and Danny. And he said, but I didn't just kill you. I cut you up into little pieces. Yeah, Tom, you're right. You say it's still weird. Kubrick died so suddenly. Not much info about it. No, there's not. Darcy. Sorry, y'all. My dogs just it seems like they got radar. They know when I'm doing a stream or a whatever, and Steve's got to work tomorrow, so I need to keep them quiet so they don't disturb him while he's trying to rest. Brink, what are you doing? Guess I'm gonna have to get up again. Sorry, folks. Will you go out this time?
Hey,
You gonna go out, Doris? Hey, TJ. You say, hey, Dana. Yeah, that's the time to get the hell out of the damn lodge when your husband dreams of cutting you up. Yeah. It's good to see you in here, TJ. I'm sorry, Gag, that I keep having to blow my nose and stuff, but I've been sneezing a lot lately. I don't really feel sick or anything, so I don't know what it is. Allergies, maybe. Darcy. Folks, I hate to keep getting up and down, but see, there's one of them scratching at the door right now. Come on, Bree. Come on, sing. Let's go and settle down now. So we can now see that Jack is visibly agitated now. And we're never really sure if Wendy is really saying that to him or shoot. Press buttons on my. Sorry, folks. I pressed buttons on my here. I didn't mean to. Um, I'm never really sure if he was imagining Wendy blaming him for what happened to Danny, or she was actually saying it to him. But he's very, very angry, and ends up going to the bar in the Gold Ballroom. And Lloyd's going to show up here in a little bit. And he's saying he's sell his soul for one glass of beer. Look on Jack's face is priceless here. He says, a little slow tonight, isn't it? And then the patented Jack Nicholson laugh right there. And there's Lloyd with a full bar behind him, too. I'm not sure, TJ. I mean, it appears that Jack does, um, but it might be all the influence of the hotel. Now, this look that Jack makes here, where his eyes kind of slide up, um, people have said that that's the same look he has at the end of the film when he's frozen. Um, and it does, it does very much look like that. But that was something that I never noticed until I heard somebody say that. TJ, you say in the TV version, Jack says there's no alcohol in the place. A look of madness, Tom? Yeah. Hank, what are you doing? I think about this time, Jack Nicholson really starts shining as Jack Torrance, because Jack Nicholson does have the ability to lay the crazy on really, really thick when he needs to. Tommy's saying also, all these ghosts are playing Jack to do what he did. Yes. And they are feeding off of Danny's ability too, the shining. Yeah, to manipulate him, exactly. So this is where Wendy tells Jack that there's a crazy woman in one of the rooms of the hotel that tried to strangle Danny. And of course, Jack asks her if she's out of her fucking mind. And he's going to go up here momentarily and check. But I'm going to have to take myself out of the stream again to get my pizza out, and I will be right back, folks. All right, gang, I am back. Hopefully, I won't keep having to go away. And I guess I came back at the right spot because we're going to, well, this is a very lovely looking lady right here. And Jack is rather turned on by this woman. But the change is going to happen with this woman here very shortly. I hope y'all don't mind me eating pizza. Yes, I did, TJ. I saw that Catherine O'Hara died. Very sad. I always loved her in movies. Definitely taking all the good ones. I will say that. Breathe. So I can already tell there's a change, and it's going to take Jack a little bit more. He's going to notice it fairly quickly here. I always thought this scene, not necessarily here, but when the woman is laughing and coming towards Jack, I always thought that that was one of the creepiest scenes in the film. Breathe. No. Tommy said all those typed papers, they were typed by hand, Stanley. Right, exactly. Not copies, typed. Well, this movie, and I think I've said this before, good movies don't ever seem long, even if they are long. And this one's over 2 hours, and we're already almost an hour and a half into it. Exactly, Tom. It draws you in. And that's what a good movie is supposed to do. Yeah, I don't think that today's audiences, and I'm not saying everybody, but generally today's audiences, younger people, um, don't appreciate a slow burn. Sam Raimi, I'd say he's medium. You say Sam Raimi is fast but good. There's a way to handle fast or medium, and there's a way to not handle it. And some people haven't, you know, been able to do that correctly. But Sam Raimi's one of the few. TJ, I've noticed that you say the younger people don't seem to grow up anymore. They need bright lights and have everything moving fast. So Jack is going to go 0 to 100 here in a few seconds because Wendy is talking about leaving the hotel and getting Danny down the Sideliner. Yes, they very much, the majority of them do want everything immediately. And this is a very cruel thing to say to your wife or your significant other. What he says right before he leaves. And again, I would be crying like Wendy is now, probably worse than that. Well, I think you're right, DJ. You say if this is a Medea movie, Wendy would have smacked the crap out of Jack. No, Wendy. So Halloran had a vision while he's down in Florida. And he's very worried about the family, Danny in particular, who he is taking a fondness to. Um, so the ballroom got really crowded, really, really quickly here. Yeah, Tom, he pretty much was discovered by Roger Corman. So we're coming up on the scene where Grady spills drinks on Jack, and this is where he first comes into contact with Grady. Be right back, folks. Brain. So Jack is discovering, you know, he's like, haven't I seen you somewhere before, Mr. Grady? Um, and he's also remembering the story that Ullman told him when he came for his interview. And he says, weren't you once the caretaker here? And he says, I don't believe so, sir. So what turns out to be, just two guys talking becomes very sinister very quickly. And Jack finally says, you were the caretaker here. I recognize you. And Grady says, that's strange, sir. I don't have any recollection of that at all. And then Jack says again, Mr. Grady, you were the caretaker here. And this is where Grady says, I'm sorry to differ with you, sir. But you are the caretaker. And then he says, you've always been the caretaker. Now, like I said earlier, I think Kubrick left that open to the audience's interpretation of what that's supposed to mean. Sorry, folks. Again, I'm sneezing. So this is where it becomes sinister. Grady starts becoming very serious and says, are you aware, Mr. Torrance, that your son is attempting to bring an outside party into this situation? Yes, Tom, correct. You say the caretaker before Jack also killed his family, so the ghosts manipulate every caretaker. Apparently, yes. The ones that are weak-willed in some way and can be manipulated by the ghosts. Darcy, I don't have anything, babe. You can come up here. You want to come up here? You want to say hello to everybody? Come on. Come on. Come on. You can do it. Come on, baby. Come on. I thought Darcy wanted to come up here. She probably thinks I got more food up here and I don't right now. Oh, she did jump up here. You want to say hello? You want to say hello to everybody? This is my little girl, Darcy. My little bitty girl, ain't you? Yeah. Love to be loved on, don't you? Okay. Sammy, what are you doing, buddy? There's no food back here now. Are you shy, Darcy? Are you shy? Mm. I don't have any food, Sammy. So, meanwhile, Wendy's going over in her mind and talking it out about what they need to do and how she needs to approach Jack with this. And she says, if Jack won't come with us, I'll just have to tell him that we're going by ourselves. So Danny is repeating red rum over and over again, which we'll soon find out is murder spelled backwards, because apparently Danny's seeing it reflected in a mirror. And I even find this creepy where Tony is talking through Danny and he says, Danny's not here, Mrs. Torrance. And he says, Danny can't wake up, Mrs. Torrance. Which is a defense mechanism. It's to protect Danny. Part of what Tony is to protect Danny. And he finally says, Danny's gone away, Mrs. Torrance. And how heartbreaking would that be for a mother? Meanwhile, Jack is downstairs, just kind of cruising the halls of the hotel, and the fire service or forest service, sorry, is trying to call them because Halloran has said that he's worried about them. Tommy said I would go crazy in an empty big hotel. It's incredibly creepy. Yes, exactly. So Jack's going to do what any self-respecting person that's losing their mind and does not want to leave the place that they're at. He's going to mess up the radio. Meanwhile, Halloran in Florida is calling the Forest Service again. Hey, Hope, you say, hey, at work, wish I was there to join you. Well, maybe I'll do this one again at a later date, Hope. Sometimes I like to wait a little bit and then do a watch along for a movie that I've done a while back, and maybe you'll be more in a position to be on here with me. I'd love to have you on. But I thank you for stopping by, though. So Halloran is now on his way back because he's extremely worried about Danny in particular, and Danny and Wendy. TJ, you say, Danny, you think Kubrick left things out like Tony being older Danny from the future because he wanted to make it all about Jack? Even Wendy's characterization is cut a lot from the novel. And it's possible, TJ. I mean, that is entirely possible because I think that Kubrick, I really think he had his own idea of how he wanted to do this film. And this is indeed Kubrick's Shining. This is not King's Shining. And I think that, and I've said this before, I'll keep on saying, it is not a great representation of Stephen King's novel. But it is a fantastic horror movie that really plays with your head. There's a lot of psychological horror in this, and it works very well. And Kubrick really knew how to make this cinematic. Sorry, that's my reminder. Sammy, what are you doing, buddy? Tom, you say it's Kubrick. The hotel is a character like the spaceship was a character. Exactly. Yes. Sammy, what are you doing, buddy? I have no idea what my dog's doing. I let him out earlier. I hope he's not went somewhere and, peed in the floor or something. So, Halloran does not tell his friend Larry, exactly the full truth of why he's wanting to get up to the Overlook as soon as he can. He tells them that the people who are taking care of the place turned out to be completely unreliable assholes. And that's not the truth at all. I mean, Jack may be losing his mind and lost his mind and be completely unreliable, but Danny and Wendy, he really cares about them. And two, I don't think I brought this up earlier, but in case you haven't noticed, there's a lot of snow in The Shining. And this is a film that me and Steve generally like to watch when there's snow. When there's snow coming, when there's snow on the ground, when it is actively snowing out. Another movie we like to watch is John Carpenter's The Thing. And I also like to watch Misery as well, which I did a watch along for it a week or two ago. So things are getting ready to kick into high gear here. Um, because Wendy is going to go downstairs um, to check on, things. And I think she is planning on talking to Jack about her and Danny leaving the hotel and going back down to Sidewinder. TJ, you say all Jack did was type the same thing over and over. Wendy was cleaning the hotel and checking the boiler room and everything. And Jack is complaining about being loyal to his employer. Exactly, exactly. And another difference is that I don't think Kubrick makes this plain, and he probably didn't intend to make it plain. But in King's book, the hotel wants Danny. It's only using Jack. And Kubrick doesn't ever make that clarification that it's feeding off of Danny's ability with The Shining, and it needs him, but it's manipulating Jack and making it out like we need you, Jack. You're the special one. But in reality, Danny is the special one. He's the conduit that everything is passing through. So this is where Wendy's going to discover the horrifying truth that I keep wanting to say Danny, that Jack has not been typing a play. All he's been typing is all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy over and over and over in different arrangements and stuff like that. Tom, you say Danny in The Shining. Edgar Casey was a strange case too. Yes, yes. If you haven't read on Edgar Casey, you probably should if you're at least interested in this type of stuff. And many others. Yes, exactly, Tom. So Wendy's becoming increasingly terrified of Jack. She doesn't really want to talk to him anymore about Danny, but he already knows it's about Danny. Tommy said, I guess these caretakers still exist in the States. I'm sure there are caretakers for certain places that, close down at certain parts of the year and they need someone to do the job of caretaking. I'm sure they still get a lot of snow um, in Colorado and certain other areas as well. So now Wendy has the bat and she just wants Jack to stay away from her. She's backing up the steps. She just wants to go back to her room and think things over. To which Jack says, you've had your whole fucking life to think things over. What's a few more minutes going to do you now? And we know at this point in time that Jack is totally unhinged. In fact, if you weren't sure, he says, darling, light of my life, I'm not going to hurt you. You didn't let me finish my sentence. I said, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to bash your brains in. Now, what sane person, sane husband says that to his wife? Yeah. Now, Wendy's finally taken charge and she hit Jack in the head with the bat. He falls down the stairs. And now she's going to put him away for safekeeping, folks. Don't lock him away in the pantry. Another great shot is going to be coming up. And you will see how it was achieved if you watch the behind the scenes documentary on the making of The Shining, where Kubrick is actually filming with the camera. It's this I'm talking about. Kubrick is actually on the floor between Jack's legs, filming up at him, and that is just an absolutely fantastic shot. So now she's saying, now that she's got a Jack locked up, she says, I'm going to try to get Danny down the Sidewinder today. I'll bring a doctor back, or I'll send a doctor back. To which Jack's going to do his thing here. And he says, You've got a big surprise coming to you. You're not going anywhere. Go check out the Snowcat and the radio, and you'll see what I mean. And then this credit has to go to Jack Nicholson for this, where he's beating on the door and saying, Go check it out. And he does the little thing with his fingers and his tongue. Just completely unhinged there. Yes, Tom, you say yes, and he's shot with a very tight crew too. They could do incredible thing with tight shots and tight spaces that a lot of other directors and cinematographers probably could not do or wouldn't have had the ability to do. Sure, my girl. So we're about down to the last 30 minutes of the film, folks. Like I said earlier, it goes by fast because this is an incredible film and it's very well paced. Looks like Jack had him some Oreos and some planters, peanuts, and I think he had some peanut butter there. And maybe some, yeah, I guess there's some crackers there. Or maybe that's bread. He's also made quite a mess, too. Damn, Jack, you made a mess, buddy. Yeah, exactly, Tom. You say after this movie, he only made 2 movies in 20 years. A pity. Yeah. I mean, it would have been nice to have had more films by Kubrick. So we're soon going to see that the ghosts are going to let Jack out of the pantry. Some country time lemonade back there. And Tang. I think there's some vanilla wafers. I'm just not, I'm noticing all this food. So now we're going to see that Halloran, good old Dick Halloran's coming up to the Overlook Hotel in a snow cap. Since we're getting to the last final minutes of the movie, I did want to remind y'all that we will have a probably more than likely My Bloody Valentine, the original My Bloody Valentine watch along coming up on Valentine's Day night. So if you don't have anything to do that night, you're welcome to join me for that. And we've also got a Cannibal Holocaust watch along coming up as well. Plus, Deadly Valentine slumber party, or hopefully several of us will be watching Schizoid with Klaus Kinski. Tommy said, being a scat man is an art. Remember Scatman John? I saw him live in '97 at a music festival. I've heard of that guy, but I never saw him. I love My Bloody Valentine as well. It is very atmospheric. It definitely is. So this is where things are going to get really tense during this last segment of the movie. So Danny has written red rum and lipstick on the door. He's standing with a knife screaming, red rum, red rum, red rum. And Wendy's going to finally see reflected what red rum actually is. It's murder spelled backwards. And meanwhile, Jack is chopping down the door to their little apartment area in the hotel. I've heard of drifting snow, but that's ridiculous. But I would imagine they have a lot of that in Colorado in the winter. Tommy said, funny, it's the Stanley Hotel in a Stanley movie. Yeah, exactly. So Wendy was able to get Danny out of the window and let him slide down that slope of snow, but she cannot get out of the window in the bathroom. He's going to do the little pig, let me come in lines. And Wendy says, Danny, run and hide, which he does. And this scene here of both Jack, once he chops a hole in the door and puts his face in there and says, here's Johnny, and Wendy's look of horror as he's chopping the door down are two of the most well known shots of this movie. That look of horror on Wendy's face, on Shelley Duvall's face, is just absolute magic for a movie like this. Oh, here we go. Here's Johnny. Yep, Miss Olive Oil. I couldn't imagine anybody else playing Olive Oil other than Shelley Duvall. These scenes are very creepy of Jack limping his way to the hotel with the axe. A mad dog, exactly. So, for those of you that have seen this as many times as I have, or maybe even if you've only seen it once or twice, um, you know that something bad is going to befall Halloran here soon. But when I watched this for the first time, I did not see this coming. And there it goes. And this look here is very, I mean, this is Jack Nicholson at his most unhinged in this movie when he raises up after axing poor Halloran to death. We're gonna have a series of kind of disturbing scenes or bizarre scenes, kind of pile one on top of the other. All the while, Jack is trying to get his axe on both Danny and Wendy. But Danny's a smart little boy, as we're going to soon find out, if we hadn't already figured that out. So basically, he's using himself as bait to lure Jack into the hedge maze. And I don't think Danny knows exactly what he's going to do when he first goes in there, but he figures it out really quickly how to fool Jack. And probably Danny remembers he was able to retain when he and his mother, when he and Wendy walked through the hedge maze and were able to find their way out. He probably remembered it. But Jack did not go in there with them. And we're closing in on the final 10 minutes of the film, and some of that will be taken up by credits, so it won't be exactly 10 or 12 minutes. There's another one of the ghosts. So Jack keeps saying, Danny, you can't get away. I'm right behind you. Was it really a James Bond set, Tom? I did not realize that. So now Danny's figuring out how he can trick Jack into not knowing where to go in the hedge maze. Oh, cool. So Danny is going backwards and stepping in his own footprints, and then he's going to rub some of them away and he's going to go a different route. And when Jack gets to that one point, he's going to become confused. Here comes the flood of blood out of the elevators here that Danny saw in his visions. And I thought it was absolute genius to use that for the trailer, primarily for the trailer. So Jack's about to notice that Danny's footprints just seem to end. So Danny was just merely, hiding, and now he's going to go backwards and he can follow his footsteps to go back out of the maze. Meanwhile, Jack is becoming increasingly more cold, and he's not finding Danny, and he's not finding his way out of the maze either. Tommy said, "No, I'm surprised it's filmed inside Elstree Studios, not the 007 stage." But that's cool, though. So, mother and son are reunited. Jack is still lost inside the hedge maze, getting colder and colder. And Danny and Wendy are going to escape back down the mountain in the snowcat that Halloran had. So finally, Jack has collapsed inside the hedge maze, and the next thing we see, he is frozen, and his eyes do indeed look like they did when he took that first drink of bourbon from Lloyd, or took the drink of ghost booze, as TJ called it earlier. And now we're going to push in on a picture, a very old picture, and we can see that basically Jack has taken the place of Grady at this party, which I think it's a 4th of July party. From 1921. Tommy said, but that 007 stage was also incredible. The Spy Who Loved Me, the entire submarine base was built inside it. And Tommy said, yes, so Jack was there as well. Yep. see, Overlook Hotel, July 4th Ball, 1921. So, as always, I will stay with those of you that are still in here um, throughout the credit sequence. So, if y'all have any comments, questions, I will try to answer questions if I can. Um, if anybody has any comments about the film, if you watch this on the replay and you want to make some comments about the film, feel free to do so. But as the credits are rolling, I want to thank everybody that was in here at many points in times throughout the night. The Poet and Kits and Tom, Drake. Let's see, Candace. I know Candace was in here. Stacy. Stalin. Gory Tiger. Tom, you were basically in here the whole time. I appreciate that a lot. TJ. So I want to thank all of you guys and gals that were in here, no matter how long you were in here. I appreciate you all keeping me company in the chat at different points in times. Tommy said, was there a curse by the Native Americans? They mentioned a burial place. I mean, there could have been. That was something that Ullman definitely alluded to near the beginning of the film. Because he said he thought that they had to repel a few Indian attacks as they were building the Overlook Hotel. And I do believe he did mention a burial ground. Yeah, it does say EMI Elstree Studios. All right. So, for those of you that were watching along but maybe didn't feel comfortable getting in the chat, or you were watching this stream on a device like a smart television where you are not able to chat and watch at the same time, I want to thank you as well for joining me because I saw the numbers go up and down. And I know that not all the people that were watching were chatting, and that's perfectly fine. And for those of you that didn't get to join me live or didn't get to finish up with this and will watch this on the replay, I thank you guys and gals as well. Till the next watch along or review. Yes, Tom. And I want to thank you, Tom, for being in here for the duration. I really, really appreciate it. It kept me company, kept me from having to talk to myself, basically. So, but I guess that's it for me for tonight. Be sure to tune in if you can tomorrow night, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, for another My Path to Becoming a Positive Renegade. It's time for a reality check, folks. So I'm planning on having a whole lineup of stuff for next week. If all goes well, God willing, and the creek don't rise, folks. But as always, I'm off like a dirty shirt. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. And I want to remind everybody, as I always do before I get off of here for the night, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have a fantastic rest of your Saturday night, folks. And I'll see everybody next time.